My name is Everett Wilkerson. I am a financial advisor with Capital Investment Advisors, and I am a member of the Money Matters team here. And we have a lot of questions coming in from listeners that listen to the radio show, and I have one to share with you today that I think is going to be a really common question for a lot of people this year. The question is, what are the rules around the RMD putbacks related to COVID-19 for the tax year 2020? This is a really good question. Again, like I said, if you have this question, I'm sure a lot of other people also have the question out there. And it's really a confusing time this year with a lot of changes due to the CARES Act. And in fact, the rules around the putbacks have also changed along the way. And fortunately, they're pretty simple at this point. So it's a pretty easy final answer to remember. But I also want to share some other things to keep in mind as you're trying to decide whether or not to put your RMDs back into your IRA. So essentially, this rule comes from what we've called the 60-day rollover period. And this year, any of the RMDs that have already been taken out can be put back into the IRA until August the 31st, 2020. And this gives taxpayers time to take advantage of the opportunity to not have those distributions taxed and get them back into the IRA for further growth if they don't need the cash flow at this time. So as many people know, RMD does stand for required minimum distributions, so everybody knows that, and those have been waived for the tax year 2020. However, a lot of people have already taken a part or all of their RMDs early in the year. A lot of people that have to take RMDs kind of have an annual schedule. Each year, January, early February, they go ahead and take their RMD out because then they can check that box and know that they've already taken their RMD, and they don't have to worry about a penalty if they don't take the full RMD by the end of the year. So we do see that a lot of people go ahead, take out their RMDs early in the year, part of it or all of it. And then this year in 2020, we have coronavirus that came along. And because of the challenges that we've had in the economy, Congress has passed the CARES Act that allows people to either waive their RMDs for the year or be able to put them back before August 31st. So a lot of thought can go into whether or not I should or shouldn't put the RMD back into my account or any of my IRA distributions. And the first thing that we want to think about is, what is your cash flow? If you need to take that amount of cash out of your IRA for cash flow, well, then that's a pretty simple answer and go ahead and move forward. But if you don't need that cash for the year and you want to put it back into the RMD, you can do that. But one thing that I really want to point out for everybody that you need to keep in mind is that when you put the RMD or the distribution back into your IRA, you need to put all of it back in, not just a portion of it. Now, the reason I say that is because a lot of times, as a matter of process or convenience, or just making sure that you've covered all your bases, people will have a distribution from their IRA, and maybe they'll have 20% of that withheld for their federal tax liability. Well, if you're going to put your RMD back in, you can't just put the 80% that you keep, you have to put 100% of it back in. And that creates a problem for some people because, well, I've already sent 20% of that to the IRS. Am I going to get that part back? And the answer is no, unfortunately, not this quickly. You would need to refund 100% of that distribution. And then when you file your taxes for 2020, then you can indicate and document that you had already paid that amount of taxes. The good news there is that it will either reduce your tax liability when you file your taxes, or if you've paid more than what you're required to, it would be added to your refund. Another option for consideration would be to convert your RMD amount into a Roth contribution. Normally, you need to have either earned income to make a Roth contribution, or you can also do a Roth conversion, which would just be taking money, a distribution from your IRA. It is a taxable event, and those dollars can go into a Roth IRA. But just remember, that amount that came out of the IRA would still be fully taxable, even though you're moving it into a Roth IRA. So while I am a certified financial planner, I am not a tax advisor, so we do recommend that everyone, especially for tax-sensitive topics like this, please consult your own CPA or tax advisor to figure out how this would affect your own personal situation. RMDs can always be a tricky and confusing topic, especially in 2020 with these differences and changes for this year. So if you have any questions, please feel free to call me or any of our advisors on the Money Matters team. We'll be more than happy to walk through that with you and help point you in the right direction. Well, thanks for your great question. Please keep them coming and let us know if we can help you at all with any of your investment needs. You can find us at yourwealth.com. That's YOUR wealth.com. Have a great day.